Boop. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, June 4th, 2020, and we're back for another of Wesley's daily Bible readings. And today's texts come to us from Psalm 8, Job 38, 1 through 12, and then 2 Timothy 1, 8 through 12. And what I'm going to do is talk about the Job passage, which has this famous line that comes out of God's mouth here in the 38th chapter, where he says, "Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge?" Now, probably what I'm going to do is spend most of the time setting up how Job got to this point where God shows up on the scene and speaks to him. Basically what's been happening is Job has been crying out against the injustice of his situation, the injustice that is his life at this point. And the problem is with that you see for Job in this is that those people from whom he sought comfort end up being his most aggressive accusers. The people that he went to seeking justice and comfort in this time of injustice that he was experiencing really just turned it back on him, and they began pointing fingers at him instead of sitting and listening to him and acknowledging the pain and suffering that he was going through. They pointed fingers at him and turned it back on him. They, like I said, they become his accusers, and they go from dealing with the injustice he's facing to justifying the tragedy of his life. And basically, if you go back and you read their arguments, I guess a quick way to summarize it would be that they're saying, well, it wouldn't have happened if you weren't guilty, obviously. So, you must be guilty because this happened to you. And that's unfortunately not how injustice works. And so in their eyes, the more he sought justice and the more he fought against their judgment of him and their persecution of him and the suffering that he was going through, in their eyes, the more he did that, the more guilty he became. So what was Job guilty of? Well, not to ruin the whole book of Job for you and spoil it for you, because I know that you're going to go and read the whole book right now, which you can actually do in a day. It's not that hard. But Job, if you want to say it, he was guilty of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's what happens to him. He hadn't done anything. We're told that from the very beginning. He hadn't done anything to warrant judgment and wrath. He just happened to get noticed by the wrong people. And so by refusing to accept his circumstances, he incurs the wrath of his people, the very people who he had thought would help him. So I guess their question is, why can't you just admit you're wrong and let us get back to things the way they were? Just admit you're wrong and let us get back to normal. But Job refuses once again to do that, and his refusal to accept his lot in life, the lot that they had assigned to him of, obviously you're guilty and you're foul and you're a horrible person, so that's why these bad things happen to you. By refusing to let them scapegoat him like that, and accept his lot in life, he actually was putting their comfort and the comfort of their assumptions at risk. And before that, he had to be corrected. And that's where we find our friend Job here at this point in the text. He has called out for his day in court. Job in the 19th chapter, after being belittled by his so-called friends who kept insisting that he obviously was guilty or this wouldn't have happened to him, calls out that his Redeemer lives, and basically says, but I know that the only way I'm going to see him now is if I die. And before this, he calls out for his day in court, basically. He calls out, if I have done this, come and tell me what I've done. If I've done this, come and tell me what I've done. But he is sure that he has been unjustly accused and unjustly punished, and so he is calling upon God to come and show him what he has done wrong, offer him correction face to face, which is a pretty gutsy thing to do. And that's where we are with this text. It says, "Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind. Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up your loins like a man. I will question you, and you shall declare to me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding." And that's the hard part of Job. It's not a very satisfying book. Job knows he's not guilty. He knows he hasn't done anything to warrant the kind of suffering that has been put upon him. And he knows he definitely hasn't done anything to warrant the kind of judgment that he's getting from the people who should be supporting him, the people who say they are his friends. But when people refuse to stand up under that anymore, generally the people who rely on them putting up with it the most get kind of antsy and nervous about it. So, Job, you should go read it. It's actually going to be the daily Bible reading for the next 4 or 5 days. So, enjoy. We'll see you tomorrow with our last daily Bible reading for the week, because tomorrow's Friday. See you later. Boop.